What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Hopefully, you all are having a very blessed and wonderful day. We are back with another weekly developer update for Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, and I've been hearing good things about it so far. Like, I know I didn't cover the one last week, but that was for a very specific reason, and I feel like it's kind of too late to go back and look over that one now. But that one was also like it was nothing in there pretty much. So we're just gonna go ahead and just pretend like that one didn't happen. But with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna jump into this weekly developer update. Weekly Developer Update, April 26. Greetings, people of Metropolis. In this week's developer update, we are going to show some of the gameplay changes that we have planned for episode 2. From looking at both our own internal data and from listening to community sentiment, we've worked on a series of improvements that we believe will make for a better experience in terms of hunting for new gear, fighting Brainiac's forces, and overall quality of life. Below is a list of several changes that we plan to implement when episode 2 releases next month. Infamy tier rework. Let's talk Infamy sets, Notorious items, and loot rollout. Our intent with distributing the Infamy set tiers and the Notorious items across our mastery levels was to have a more gentle onboarding to the increasing complexity of the Infamy sets and build configurations. The intent was basically that as you progress through the mastery levels, the content would get harder, but you would get Infamy sets to counter that, and as long as you play into your build, you wouldn't really struggle until you hit the higher mastery levels. Having the most build permutations happen at the later mastery levels meant that we didn't really get the build meta going until very late in our endgame, which kind of sucks because like the high numbers that you would tend to see from afflictions like burn or whatnot only come very late in the endgame, which left many players wondering where all of that juicy build construction was hiding. With episode 2, we are turning that completely on its head. All Infamy set tiers and Notorious items will be possible to acquire starting from Mastery Level 1, which is great. You can still rely on the episode rank rewards to predictably and reliably give you all the loot that the episode has to offer, but you now have a chance to get a tier 3 Infamy set item drop from Mastery 1. Now that's definitely a welcome change because I believe you can't start getting Mastery 3 tier items until Mastery level 13 or 15, somewhere around that area. I'm not sure, but being able to just outright get them from mastery level 1 definitely adds a little bit more incentive. That's a positive change right there. In addition to this, we are changing our philosophy when it comes to the Infamy set tiers. Our original intent was that tier 1 was the easiest to play but also the lowest power potential, and tier 3 was the hardest to play but had the highest damage potential. Of course, the way our mastery levels are balanced, at higher mastery levels that meant that tier 3 was pretty much the only viable Infamy set, which definitely sucks because everything else before then is just useless. Our new philosophy is essentially to flatten the power difference between the tiers and create space between the tiers and how much freedom they offer. In episode 2, each tier 1 Infamy set will be designed around a few specific playstyles. You'll see that 1 or 2 core mechanics are buffed, and keeping uptime on those buffs won't be a challenge. That means optimal tier 1 play will encourage you to master those specific core mechanics, and if you can handle that, you'll be able to reach damage outputs that were previously only possible with a tier 3 set. Great change right there. On the other end of the spectrum, tier 3 gear will be the most flexible in terms of core mechanics. Our goal is that you can leverage pretty much any playstyle using a tier 3 set. However, it will be the most complex Infamy set when it comes to uptime. You'll have to use all of your skills to keep the buffs going, but the payoff will be that you have more freedom in which core mechanics to use. Tier 2 pretty much sits somewhere in the middle. When episode 2 launches, we'll be working closely to see how this new approach to Infamy sets is working, so stay tuned for more tweaks in future episodes. Introducing new grades of master items. With the flattening of the Infamy set tiers, we want to make sure that there's still something to chase in the later mastery levels. That's why we're introducing an additional 4 master grades for a total of 5 that Infamy and Notorious items can drop with. Each grade will be more powerful than the last, and you can expect the highest, which is Master 5, to only drop from very high levels. Corrupted items. One piece of feedback that we've heard since launch is that players didn't have enough reason to play the Mayhem missions after beating them for the first time. We think we have just the right reward for you to fight for it. Introducing Corrupted Notorious items. These twisted pieces of gear have been subjected to the Elseworlds corruption, changing their unique augment to provide a warped and seriously powerful version of the weapon. Being able to build around these corrupted effects is a path to some of the highest power in the game, so Corrupted Notorious items will be very rare drops from the episode 2 2 Mayhem mission, but trust us, their power will be worth it. To give an example, we'll have to give you a peek at one of the upcoming notorious items in episode 2, Firefly's Firestorm. The standard version of this red hot grenade sets all enemies hit on fire and increases the radius of your next grenade by 50% for each enemy you burn, up to a maximum of 200%. The corrupted version turns the heat up even more. It burns every enemy hit, but instead of increasing the blast radius, instead the damage of your next grenade is buffed by 200% for each enemy you burn, up to a maximum of 1000%. This is just a taste of the power that you'll be able to harness with corrupted items if you're brave enough to face Brainiac in order to find them. You can expect more of these items too in future episodes. We're really breaking down items from Mission Complete. We're really happy to announce that with the launch of episode 2, you'll be able to break down items straight from the bat pile drop in the mission reward screen. Oh my, thank God. This is the first of several quality of life changes that we have planned for our inventory system, so watch out for more info here in future developer updates. I really hope they increase I really hope that they either increase the overall inventory size, or they just separate everyone's inventory per character, because the way that it currently is, every character shares the same inventory and there's only 300 slots, and that shit can fill up very quickly. So again, either just separating it so that each character has access to their own inventory, or just overall raising the limit from 300 is like really the main two things that they can do there. But I'm glad that they're definitely looking into that. That's something I've been wanting to get changed from the start. Mutators Rework. First off, let's talk mutators. Our intent with these was to give you just enough friction in the mastery level journey that you would want to consider your builds and push you into changing your tactics as you progress through the mastery levels. Some mutators were supposed to be less critical things, and some mutators, like the venom frenzy immunity, was supposed to really push you into experimenting with new builds once you reach a certain mastery level. There's a very strong reason for why the venom frenzy immunity was a very dumb idea, but I'm not repeating myself about that in this video. Essentially, we wanted to promote a more direct change in the meta to provoke new loadout configurations. It was more of a stick approach and less of a carrot. With episode 2, we are fundamentally changing our approach to these mutators. Rather than introducing friction to encourage build diversity, we're changing these to instead be gameplay bonuses. Each mutator in episode 2 will give you a window of opportunity to take advantage of its effect, and the gameplay benefit is something we want you to be able to build around. We don't expect you to be able to build around all 6 mutators. Realistically, we want you to be able to find the 2 to 3 that you really like, that you can leverage with a build you like. These mutators are build enhancers. Our intent isn't that these will define your build, but rather make some of them fit the build you want to run to make it even more powerful. A couple of new mutators to illustrate this new approach are Desperation and Extra Freeze. Okay, yeah, are they teasing? Are they teasing the second character for season 2, Extra Freeze? Cause the second character is an ice character. I see what y'all doing. Desperation boosts your damage by 75% for every 10% of your shield mission, incentivizing a high risk, high reward playstyle that works great with Bizarros on Death Ray and Hot Potato. Extra Fries grants players 1 combo for every critical hit on a burning enemy, allowing fire builds to get out to a blazing start. Ooh, that shit will work. Oh, that would work nice with Joker. Oh shit. While these new builds offer a variety of buffs, you'll still have to build and play creatively to get their full benefit. New incursion mission mechanics. Let's move on to our incursion missions. Our original intent with these mission types was to give you all a known foundation, i.e. activity mechanics, and that the enemy types and fusion types and your character's traversal mechanics and your build, weapon types, gear, afflictions, etc. will provide the variety in terms of how you approach the encounter. The variety was then supposed to change up as you progress through the mastery level, and with the introduction of mutators, your build would change, and that would be different for each incursion mission as you would progress through the mastery levels. Again, we were using more of a stick approach and less of a carrot, with friction into the system to encourage changing of builds and tactics. With the launch of episode 2, Lex 2 has done an analysis of the enemies in each of the incursion encounters and will provide an aptly named Lex 2 enemy analysis bonus to help the squad out. Each new incursion mission will have its own analysis that identifies weaknesses on enemies, and these weaknesses make different builds really shine. During his analysis of the mission funny pages, Lex 2 has discovered that burning enemies will take double damage from all sources. Time for the Joker to get out there and turn up the heat. And in Seaside Amusements, it seems that the squad's critical hits will actually deal 150% more damage. If they build accordingly, they might actually stand a chance. See how you can lose Lex's 2 enemy analysis to your advantage in episode 2. Crafting recipes from previous episodes. And another quality of life feature for episode 2 will be adding in crafted recipes from most of the legendary items that you can find in Finite Crisis in episode 1. Now you can straight up craft them, even if you haven't received them as a loot drop. Oh, that's fucking wow. Okay, no. That's actually fucking amazing. That only applies to gear from previous episodes. So the latest and greatest loot is exactly where you would expect it in mission rewards. Okay, that's fair. Crafted master items. One additional thing we're adding to crafting in episode 2 is that there's now a chance for items to be crafted as master versions. That means that there's a chance that you'll get a master version of an item each time you craft it, which of course is true for all crafting recipes regardless of the episode they were introduced in. For the higher grade version of items, master 2 through 5, you're gonna have to venture into Elseworlds to score them. Lower Promethean cost missions. In episode 2, we'll be doing a pretty big balance and change to all Promethean costs across encouraging missions, mayhem missions, and killing time missions. This is the first step in a deeper review into our different currencies and their use, but is intended to cut down your the time you spend gathering Promethean before your squad can take on a more serious mission. The main source of Promethean is still raising hell. You get a whopping 3,000 Promethean from completing the first tier and an increasing amount for each tier. You also get Promethean from playing the Metropolis missions, taking out cargo knots from your care packages and your contracts. Don't forget, you get a 50% XP boost for 45 minutes in the first Metropolis mission you complete. Each subsequent mission refreshes this timer, but to be efficient, you really only need to play a Metropolis mission every 45 minutes. Additional evasion levels. With episode 2, we'll be adding an additional 3 invasion difficulty levels from Metropolis, each with unique rewards and XP and resource bonuses to address the feedback from you all that Metropolis content is too easy when you're fully kitted out with a proper build. All of these changes will be made in the patch shortly before the launch of episode 2. This will be the next patch for the game. We are eagerly looking forward to implementing these changes, and we hope you enjoy your time on the Elseworlds. Until then, Derek and the Rocksteady team. Holy shit. Okay, so I can say this, right? So everything in this patch so far was everything in this update was a fucking W. It was a strong W. And the reason for why I say that is because a lot of the changes that's coming, especially the quality of life additions, all primarily come from player feedback. Like, again, I have been saying this for like a month now. Season 1, episode 1 got off to a very bad fucking start. It got off to a bad start, but the team has been slowly trying to rectify the issues that they made. Like this is actually hyping me up to get back into the game, right? Because one, there's gonna be new gear to grind. There's actually incentive to going after like Brainiac, for example, instead of just doing that long ass mission and getting booty loot. The inventory stuff is getting fixed. You're gonna be able to break down stuff at the reward screen instead of having to go into your inventory. They're changing the way modifiers work, because I believe I mentioned this in a previous video as well when I said if you really want to introduce new modifiers to shake up how these incursion missions work for us, 1, don't give us dumbass modifiers. 2, give us positive modifiers as well. You can keep negative ones, that's perfectly fine. Just don't make them dumb. But also give us a mix of positive ones that can also help us deal with the negative ones that are taking place. Because like for example, again, moving back, going back up to where it said it, I believe it was in Mutators Rework. Yeah, like for example, a couple of new mutators to illustrate this new approach are Desperation and Extra Freeze. Desperation boosts your damage by 75% for every 10% of your shield mission, and incentivizing a high risk, high reward playstyle that works great with Bizarro's on Death Ray and Hot Potato. I'm pretty sure I don't think that would work well on the King Shark build, because I know there's a lot of like pure King Shark Harvest builds. However, that would definitely work great, I would say, with somebody like Harley or Boomer. And then Extra Freeze granting players 1 combo for every critical hit on a burning enemy, allowing fire builds to get up to a blazing start. That's literally perfect for Joker, because he has a skill that makes it so every critical hit burns an enemy. In the way that I have my build set up right now, every critical hit that burns an enemy also applies every critical hit applies the burn affliction, and when the affliction gets applied, poison also gets applied as well. So not only am I getting combo each time, but I'm still applying both the status effect and the affliction on at the same time. Like I'm not gonna lie, this was definitely a good weekly update. We still got to see how it all plays out in the game. When it gets here, we got to make sure that the shit is not broken. But so far, this was definitely a W. I don't really have any issues with this. I think we might be back. I think Rocksteady is definitely getting on the train to improve this game moving forward, and hopefully they learned their lesson from season 1 in terms of putting a bit more faith in the player feedback, and again, not giving us dumb shit like the Venom Frenzy immunity with the Lantern Shields thing. Again, that was horrible. But yeah, with that being said, that's gonna go ahead and that's gonna bring us to the end of the video. Hopefully you all have enjoyed it. If you didn't, let me know down in the comments below. But if you did, let me know how you feel about all of these quality of life changes coming to the game. Does it have you excited to jump back in? What character you gonna play with? This, that, and the third. Let's go ahead and start a dialogue. And again, if you've enjoyed the video, please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and smack the notifications bell so you won't ever miss out on any of my Suicide Squad related content. And I will catch y'all in the moonlight. Peace.